So what I was talking about there was to get Craig's boundaries in, you'll have to come to this location. And let's say we want to look at end rows. So there's his boundary for his end rows.
Okay.
If the Deere is going to run your shutoffs, you have to have that boundary in there for the shutoffs to work right.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the Deere is going to run the shutoffs though, because the ag leader is controlling the implement.
Yes.
So that would be on the ag leader side if it's got the automatic shutoffs.
Okay.
I don't think this has any control over the implement. We're going to do new work. So we must be sitting inside. Yeah, we're sitting inside his end rows boundary. The purple line is the boundary, the blue line is your guidance lines. This is a 16 row, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're track spacing. Say you're wide when you turn around and come back. You can just tap here and change your track spacing.
Oh, okay.
You can go 40.001. I mean, you can get that tight with it. So to pick out your guidance lines, you have a swap button over here. I guess you got it down here at the bottom too. But that'll switch you between your guidance lines in the field. So if you got one that, I don't like this one, we should have another one in there that's right. You can keep punching this and it'll just cycle through each one.
Okay.
So if you get on the row like you should be, you can cycle through that until you see 0 inches here.
Okay.
And that should tell you you're on the right line.
Okay.
Otherwise, when you want to make a new track, you'll come up here to set track. And new is down here in the bottom left. So it'll ask you if you want to do an AB, A plus heading. I'm guessing you're probably going to use AB the most. If they want to switch to using this A plus heading, that might not be a bad way to do it.
Okay.
Because if you figure out your heading, so 0 degrees is straight north,
Okay.
90 degrees is straight east and west.
All right.
If you guys figure out what headings you want to run, you can punch that heading in and your line will always go down the right track. You just may have to move it left or right to get it in the right spot.
Okay.
That's a pretty popular one for guys running strip till bars, because then they know the line always goes the same path across the field.
Oh, okay.
And it may be 178.0622 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, it may spit out a random number for you too. Do we have anything on the ISO? No, so we only have, and we're only seeing one receiver. Do we have the second one?
Yeah, that's in the
We
back
do?
there. Yeah.
So we got to figure out why that's not popping up. Because you should, when you come down here, you should have 2 receivers.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's one on top of the cab and one behind that fertilizer tank above the
Exactly.
strip till bar.
If you think you need to redo a roll cal, that'll be under setup on this calibration button.
Okay.
But we're going to do an advanced cal where we're going to calibrate both loads at the same time.
Okay.
Another place you can get to that is going to be menu, applications, and it should be under Starfire. It's not there. Advanced TCM calibration.
Okay.
So if you're having trouble with the auto steer, the steering optimization, and then steering adjustments. Yeah. So this is your tractor steering adjustments, your sensitivities, tracking, heading. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in here you can mess with. 2 main ones will probably be steering response rate, line sensitivity heading, and acquire sensitivity. Steering sensitivity, some people play with, it doesn't seem to do a whole lot.
Okay.
Where it gets complicated is you also have implement steering over here. So you've got all these same settings for your implement
Oh.
that you can adjust.
Okay.
So if the tractor is doing a good job of driving straight down the line, but your implement, when you get on a hillside, drifts down, you'll want to come in and adjust these.
Oh. Okay.
You guys are pretty flat.
Yeah, I was
Probably
gonna say
won't
I don't
have
think
to-
we'll have to worry about that too much around here.
You probably won't have to come in and play with them, but
Yeah.
at least you know about them. And to get to that, you'll go guidance. The 2 white circles at the top, that's an advanced menu. And then the steering wheel. And then you got all your options over here.
Okay.
So, let's go look at that globe now.
All right.
Record it.
Yeah, there's a couple extra steps you got to do.
So when you go to set track, and you make a new track, you have curve track over here on the left,
Okay.
and then adaptive curve.
Oh.
You'll give it a name, tell it what field you're in, hit OK. You drive, it'll follow that same guidance line each pass over.
Oh. All right.
So it's simple as that. Just make sure, so say we did an adaptive curve around the buildings here.
Okay.
When you get around the buildings, you have to hit stop on the screen. It'll just pop up right here.
Okay.
You'll hit stop there, it'll save the line, then you can turn around and grab the line and go.
Okay.
Every now and then, guys don't think about it, make their turnaround. Well, then there's a big fish hook on the end of the line and it screws them up every time they come around to that corner.
So make sure you stop when you get to the end.
Of your line.
Right.
And you can, so when you hit stop, it'll snap a straight line out in front of you. Say you go around the buildings and then you want a straight line running along the road down there. You make the corner, turn on, take off down along the road, you can hit end and it'll snap a straight line out in front of you. Okay, we got a bunch of measuring to do. And tractor. Articulated. Alright, let's go get a tape measure.
Alright.
So I think we'll just go out in here and we'll do that advanced TCM cal. We're chained, we got RTK, everything should be working, so we can go calibrate now. I think we'll just go on the other side of these towers here.
Yeah.
Well, let me think. So this is a switch, so you have to tap that button. I can just hit the trigger right here. You have to tap that button every time you want to record. I'm going to set it to record off SCV1.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't know if that's going to work with this one. We might have to do it off of auto track engaged. Because this is not going to look at your SCVs down here. So as long as the auto track is engaged, it's going to paint coverage.
Okay.
So if you're manually steering a line, it's not going to show that you went through there.
Okay. So it has to be auto track for it to.
For it to paint behind the implement.
Okay.
And that's all it is it's just coverage.
Okay.
All your rate and everything is going to be watched through here.
Okay.
And you'll set up your rates and everything through here too. You can come over here and set a depth, but we're just looking at this as tillage. I guess I want to make sure that's set up right too. We're not controlling anything. We're set up as tillage. 16 row, 30 inch. All of our measurements are still in here. Okay. So now to do your globe calibration, we're going to go menu, applications. We're going to come down here to Starfire. Starfire is your globes. And then we have advanced TCM cal right here. So here's where it shows it wants us to drive 50 feet on a guidance line, turn around, come back down that same 50 feet.
Well, this is 50 meters.
Or 50 meters,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
50 meters, okay.
You have to have a 6000 or newer to do this. So if you put an older globe on the back, you can't do this calibration. It'll say unable to calibrate.
Oh,
So So we're going to hit begin. Road field switch on. I ran into this once before.
So that button,
This one?
yeah, the Deadpool looking thing next to the cup with a straw in it. Yeah.
Authorization not permitted. I
Um,
wonder if that was just because we got 2 pieces of pie now. So yeah, we just have to activate that before we do anything with auto steer.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, it walks you through step by step. Position the machine in the field with at least 330 feet out in front of you.
Okay.
So now it just comes up, stop machine to set point A. We were already stopped, so I hit set A. Now we're going to drive and it's going to set this heading for us.
So does it know how far? Like you gotta go so far with it. Is it? So it's counting down. It's counting down.
All we're doing is
Or no?
making a heading here, so 270 degrees
Okay.
off of north.
Oh, okay. So we're 270 degrees off of north.
So you drive, you hit set A, that sets our position, and then we hit done. Now it snapped a line out in front of us.
Okay.
It's hard to see because it's in the gray, but there's a little dot right here. That's where it's going to begin the calibration.
Oh, okay.
So as we drive, where's your auto tracking gauge button?
It should be
Right here?
It should be the auto button there.
So we're gonna just engage on the line and don't go over 4 miles an hour.
Okay.
There's your speed right there. Slower isn't necessarily any better. They just don't want you to go over 4 for the rocking.
Oh.
So now we're starting the calibration because we crossed the line.
Okay, so you don't have to measure anything out. It knows how far it's going.
Yep.
Okay.
It does everything automatically. You just have to tell it which direction we're
Which
going.
direction we're going, and it'll tell us when we're done. When it gets to 100%, I'm assuming. And
So we'll get to 50% when we get to this line, or this dot up here.
okay.
That's the other end of our 50 meters.
Okay.
And this is one, if the guidance just isn't working, no matter what you do, don't be afraid to come in and redo this calibration.
Okay.
It's so automated you can't screw it up.
right
If
on.
you try to screw it up, the thing's going to scream at you. So now we're at 50%. It wants us to turn around. I usually come back to the end of this guidance line
Okay.
and engage because that gives it time to line everything up and get both globes on the line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll just keep going until it disengages. And then we'll make a big sweeping turn here. Hopefully we can figure out where we're at when we come back. Sometimes this map is too small. Yeah, we're leaving plenty of good tracks. No, really?
Yeah.
So all we did was grab the line again. Now that we're past the dot, we're counting. Try not to shift while you're doing this because that jerking can make it do funny stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're limited to 4 miles an hour while you're doing this, I mean, it's not like you have to go very far.
Right. There we go.
Sweet.
So now it updates your calibration date and time. Time must be off on the display.
Oh, it's the wind whipping that thing around.
Yeah. That should be all we got to do.
Sweet.
So do we just want to drag it in the dirt a little bit, make marks so we can see where our lines come out. Make sure
Oh
they're
yeah,
30
that
inches.
was the other thing my dad wanted, to make sure that we're 30-inch spacing is
accurate.
kosher. Yeah.
So when you're running your auto track, this big button here
Yeah.
will move the line to where the tractor's at.
Okay.
So you can, if you know where you need to be, you can steer yourself there, hit the big button, and it brings the line over to you.
Oh.
These bottom two will shift you left and right in 1-inch increments. If you want that to be 2 inches, you can just tap on the 1 inch and change it to 2. However
I planted
you want
that a
it
little
set.
bit during planting this spring
Okay.
because we were kind of wandering a little bit, and we didn't know if it had to do with the strip till from the fall before, or we didn't know. We were having problems though.
Okay.
We were having to move stuff around. And this year was my first year even touching guidance at all.
Okay.
It didn't give me too many problems.
So now you got 2 light bars up here. This top one is the tractor, the bottom one is the implement. So like right now our implement is 6 inches off the line. The tractor's moving to the other side of the line to bring it over to the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep.
So you can basically ignore this top one as long as the bottom one is green.
Okay.
So now I gotta run all 3 paddles to put this thing down, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna put it down enough to scratch some dirt up. And we'll just sink it.
Yeah, this thing pulls like a beast. It actually.
I remember that from last year riding with Craig.
Yeah.
I just disengaged so it quit painting. So if you see coverage ahead of you and you're overlapping,
Okay.
say you had auto track engaged and you were doing something else, coverage does not matter on this display.
Okay.
It'll matter on this one because it'll shut the thing off on you,
Okay.
but it does not matter to this one.
You'll know it on the ag later.
Right. This is just saying, hey, you've already been there. That's it.
Yeah.
It's still going to follow the line. It's still going to do everything it should do. This 9 and 10S,
Yeah.
that's telling you you're 10 passes south of your original pass.
Oh.
So I did
Okay.
this one on 10, now I'm looking for 11.
Oh.
So if you start skipping passes, you can look at that to make sure you're on the path that you want to be on. So now we're going to grab the line again, make sure it gets straight. We'll even do it on a little bit of a hillside and make the thing correct for it. Now we can go back there and measure. and
Yeah.
check it,
See,
right?
we got 30 inches here. Yep.
There's your knife line there. There's your knife line over there. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I'm not afraid to run that.
No.
Don't be afraid to double check it the first couple days.
Yeah.
Just make sure everything stays dialed in.
Sure.
But you should be set as far as the gear side goes.
We don't have an event selected. This is what we refer to as the home page, donated by the little house being green in the corner. To get to a run screen, we need to make sure that there's a check mark on our configuration bar, which there is, and then we just hit select event. We go through the farm and field. So right now we're Craig Strelo at home, I assume.
Yep, it's home.
Arrow to the right, select our products, arrow to the right. As long as our controlling products are in the right units, then everything's fine. So green check mark. Okay, this is the part we were talking about before. The product equipment calibrations has not been calibrated. That's okay. So green check for all the channels. That brings us our grid button. This takes us to our run screen. And all's that
And then if you hit the liquid, they're on the left-hand side, then that'll go to granular.
right. So here in our settings, this is what it was yelling at us about, is that there's not a cubic feet per revolution for the product types of potash and DAP. So we'll probably just have to get into Craig's monitor and get those numbers out, and then just we'll put them in here. Because that's all about like gate openings and the
I don't
machine
remember
itself.
from year to year.
Right.
That's my problem.
So that's kind of a hard number to come up with just off the top of our heads. We either have to do a calibration, which actually requires running product out, or we'll just go get the number that's currently in that machine. Obviously, that's probably close enough. So, yeah, once we have the run screen here, then it's just you go up to your product tabs, hit the wrench, and you can input your different rates on this screen. So our NH3's in pounds. So if you want like 20, and you can do like another one if you want to put a little heavier rate. And all that means is you can jump between 1 and 2. It'll jump between those two separate rates that you put there at rate 1 and 2. And it works that way for all of them. Or you can put an increment in, whatever you put for that increment. Now your target rate will adjust with these arrows by that increment. And that works the same for all three of them. You gotta set
So
for all three products.
you don't have to actually put like a number in. You can just go up and down too.
You could, as long as you have that increment in there.
Oh, okay.
So right now there's just zeros in there.
Okay, so the arrow is just for fine tuning
So like
it. So
anhydrous, you go like 225.
Yeah, then we can just leave.
And then you go like 200 and 175, or, something like that.
Right, so you can change it by like the 25.
Depending on what you're-
So now the 25 is our increment, so now
Oh,
our
so every
anhydrous-
time you do that, it goes 25.
I asked Mark this
Okay.
morning what he was going to put on for beans. Shit, he was talking 450 pounds of dry. And I'm like, holy crap, man.
Wow.
You ain't going to do 150 bushel soybeans. So now I think he's backing off on that idea.
Yeah, I mean, you can set them on the one page for all three of them, because they all show up in that wrench.
And then there's a container for liquid you can put in. I'm trying to, isn't it that wrench?
Yep, so you can reset your containers,
Yep. And then hit container.
so you can hit full. You can do it for all three of them, the dries and the liquids.
And then when it gets down to 20% or whatever you set it at, well, then
Yeah.
it'll give you a warning. So you know your anhydrous tank is getting maybe like enough for one more round.
Yeah, right now your container's set to 1,500 gallons.
Yeah.
So,
But it doesn't hold 1,500, so you got to put in 1,350 at 80%.
okay. But yeah, it's just all through that containers tab there. So you can either fill it with these buttons, or you can put in, like he was saying, you could set it to just whatever you want, 1375. So now it says there's 1375 in there.
And then that counts down, Rick, when it's running.
Right.
Okay. Now that's for that there. That's dry, right? That'd be
Well, I
liquid.
just did
That's
it for-
that you got on liquid.
But
Okay.
yeah, but it's whatever one is green is what is shown on the screen. But
Okay.
in that wrench, they're all there. So the
Okay.
containers for all three of them are there.
Okay. No, it doesn't look too unuser friendly, I wouldn't say. I mean, the guy knows
By
what
the
they're
time
looking.
I'm done on the last day, then that's when I get the hang of it.
Well, that's a problem with
Absolutely.
farming. You know, you only use something a couple of weeks out of the year,
At the
and
most.
then
A lot of times
then
10
you
days.
forget how to use it by the next year.
And then of course you got all your switches down here to make.
And then that's your, the two on the left is anhydrous. So then the next one, the third one, number 3 switch is the front tank, and the number 4 is the back tank.
Okay, that's so 1, 2. That's just still yelling at us. We haven't put that number in there. That's all. So yeah, just
So 1 through 4 is the only ones programmed for
Yeah,
anything.
And plus the master there on the far left. That master.
Right.
Yep. So
Yeah.
3 and 4 stays up. That's your 2 dry tanks.
Yep.
And then since we're not putting on anhydrous on bean ground, why them 2 stay down.
master up.
Okay, so it's like 1 and 2, like the left side and the right
Left
side.
and right.
correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Anhydrous is split. You never do that, Rick. I don't. Even when you come to Point Rose, I don't fucking.
Don't
do
even
that.
mess with it. Just
And I did that when I first had it set up that way. My problem was I turned it off.
and then forget to turn it back
And then when
on.
you turn around, you forget to turn it back
Yeah.
on. And you go clear across the field and you go, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there's this little button down here in the corner. If that's green, it's got to automatically shut 1 and 2 off if they're already in coverage. So it'll do it for you
Oh, okay.
if that's on.
If that's on.
Yep. So right now it looks like Point Rose. So right
Right
now,
off.
right now it would shut off valve 1 or
The
valve 2
reason I want that
independently.
off is when we go into the long rows on the end rows, it takes so long for that dry to come out on row 1 and 16. So I drop it in the ground, and then I do the end rows last.
Right.
So that's, I found out it just works better for us.
Sure. But that really is about the gist of it. So yeah, you hit this a couple times for whole field view or zoomed in view.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's really kind of saw me do it, but if you just hit the tabs, it just pulls them in and out.
Oh, okay.
So that, it's got to be the green one though. Like I said, whatever's green is whatever's showing on the actual screen.
All right.
And you can shrink that map down a little too if you want
Yeah.
when you're mapping.
So that's about it.
All
Just
right.
it.
All right.
Okay, well,
Is that other display over there? Or did there? So there, that's what I need, the 68.
I know you wrote the calibrations numbers down in this book that I handed to you.
These wouldn't be in there. We should probably write those in there.
anhydrous is real accurate. The dry, oh, it's about 5% short.
And that's what these settings
And
kind of matter.
I don't know, I just got in the habit of, like if I want 200 pounds out of a tank, I just go to 210. It's within a pound or two.
Yeah, that's all about these density numbers that I was just messing with. I'm sure if we change those by whatever percentage it was off, it might it'd probably fix it, but I wouldn't know which way to go right now. Should be ready to go.
Should work.
Should.